Okay, it's loading my slides. I did receive a lot of messages last night about you guys working on Schoology, and then Schoology didn't save your work or something like that. I got glitched out too. Like I was trying to upload the materials, but it didn't work. If that happens, you know what? It's not worth your time. So just log out, and then go back to it later. And if you notice, I never close the assignments anyway. So you're only racing with the grade deadline. You get what I mean? So you can do the homeworks. The deadlines are just there so you don't let things pile up. But if it's not working, be kind to yourself. Give yourself a break. Okay? More important than math is you. Okay? So for your mental health, just leave it alone, and then go back to it later on. The grades are opening on October 8th. So pretty much that's the only deadline you're racing with. Okay? You're trying to reach or to meet. Okay, so let's move on. Our lesson for today is about compound inequalities. And I have like a little bat right here to kind of remind us of how the graphs look like. But maybe at this point that looks weird, right? So I'm going to explain to you what these compound inequalities look like. All right. So it says here the graph of a compound inequality with or, it's right there, or is the union or combination, right, of the graphs of the inequalities. And the graph shows numbers that are solutions of either inequality. So let's try to explain what that means. First, let's graph um, y is less than or equal to -2. Okay, so in the chat, can you tell me whether that's an open circle or a solid circle? I'm gonna read the chat in another device. Okay, so in the chat, can you tell me if we're going to graph an open circle or a solid circle at -2? If it said less than or equal to. All right, waiting for your answers in the chat. Um, Signal's really laggy. I know, mine too. And I have 1000 Mbps. I gave up my cable just to get that, and still laggy. I know, right? Okay, so y is less than or equal to -2. If it has an equal sign, then it's gonna be solid, right? You guys agree? Solid at -2. Okay, and then you're going to graph it by drawing a line going to the left. So why going to the left? Because it's less than -2. Okay. All right. Now what about the other one? It says y is greater than 1. Ooh, y is greater than 1. Let's see. If this is -1, 0, 1. All right. So let's put a solid or an open circle at 1. Should I shade it in? What do you guys think? It says y is greater than 1. So we should leave it alone, right? Because how do I get the digital notebook? Oh, hang on. There, I sent the link in the chat. There you go. And make a copy for yourself. Yeah, no worries. Sorry about that. Okay, so now um, it's greater than 1. So the numbers greater than 1 are 2, 3. So that means you go to the right. There you go. You finished your work. Yay! She finished her dinosaur work. Okay, honey, I'm working.
Mommy.
Yes.
His thing is orange and
Nice. Okay, go back to your teacher, honey. All right. It doesn't let you type on it. Oh, you have to go to File and then make a copy. Because right now you're viewing it. Oh, thank you, honey. Go to File and then make a copy. That's the only time you can type on it. All right. Yeah, but not cute when she's interrupting me, right? Okay, sorry guys. All right. So, I know. Yeah. Kids first above everything else, right? So, going back, um, if you guys look at these graphs, they go in opposite directions. So when you say union, shows right there, when you say union, the solutions to these are the combination of the numbers that are to the left of -2 and to the right of -1. So you don't pick. It's not like, oh, let's just look at the green one on the left hand side. No, it's going to be the combination of both. So the possible solutions will be, I already did that, but it doesn't let me write. Oh, honey, you have to insert a text box. So you click on a text box. Um, yeah, I just cannot like minimize my screen right now because I already wrote on it. But can you find the text box for me? It has like a little T inside the box. You click on that and then you put it on the screen and then you can write on it. So every time you want to write, you gotta do that. Okay. And if you want to draw lines for the graphs, you can insert and then it would say like shapes or something like that. Okay. All right. So the possible solutions here, it could be, it could start at -2 and then -3 because we're going to the left, right? And we can also include, we don't include 1 because it's open. So maybe like 1.1, 1.2, 2, 5, and so on. So those are possible solutions. So the solutions are the combination or the union of everything to the left of -2 and everything to the right of +1. Okay, so this type of inequality is called a compound inequality, right there, with or. Compound inequality with or. Okay, so let's try another type of inequality with and. This one, it says compound inequality with and. So let's do that. So let's try to graph x is greater than 2 first. Ooh, how would that look like? Greater than 2? Okay, let's see. Let's put 2. I think I need more space. Give me 1 second. I have to move it a little bit lower over here. All right. So let's put 2 here. 3, 4, so 5 is right there. Okay. So greater than or equal to 2. What does that mean? This one is solid because it has an equal sign, right? So solid. What if we're writing on a piece of paper? Oh yeah, that's great. Take a picture, text me. You're good. Okay, that's what your classmates did yesterday. Okay. All right. So solid at 2, and then it's greater than. So the numbers greater than 2 are 3, 4, 5. So that means you're going to shade to the right. There you go. But you have another one. This is x is less than 5. X is less than 5. So it doesn't have an equal sign underneath. So we have to put an open circle at 5. There you go. Open circle at 5. All right. Okay, honey. So now where do we go after we put that open circle? So the numbers that are less than 5.
The middle.
Oh my God, honey, why now? Mommy's working. You're getting mommy in trouble. I gotta do my work. Okay. All right. Now, can I help you with the other one later? Okay. Thank you. I love you. All right. So as I was saying, this is 5. So open circle at 5, and then it says less than, less than. So that means we go to the numbers that are less than 5. All right. Looks like there's 2 trains, you know, going in opposite directions, right? Yep. So one goes right, one goes left. So what are we going to do? It says here we need to find the intersection. Intersection. What does that mean? We need to find where the 2 trains are at the same time. Okay. So that means it's going to be from here, right? Because they're sharing that portion, and then from here as well. So we're only we're only going to get the graph that's in between the two dots. So let's make another version of that graph without the tails so we can see clearly what it looks like. So this is 2, this is 5, and at 2 we made a solid circle. There you go. And then at 5 we made an open circle. Okay? And then we said we're just going to do the line in between. So we're going to connect them to each other. There you go. And that's the graph of a compound inequality with the word and. Okay? So let's try to compare them. What's the difference? The difference is if it's or, they go in split directions. One left, one right. But if it's and, they go towards each other. See? It goes here and then it goes to the right, but they have that shared portion in the middle. And that's the one that we take. That's the one that we write again over here at the bottom. Okay? So that's what we mean by x is greater than 2 and x is less than 5. Now, my other device glitched out. Okay, so if you look at this one, how come we didn't have this in the other example? Now, this way of writing only works for and. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that here in your second graph, you start at 2 and you end at 5, right? And then all your possible solutions are in the middle, so they put the x in the middle. Okay? And since the number here is greater than 2, you write the symbol. Okay? It's facing the bigger number, so it's facing x, which is, let's say, 3 or 4, right? It's a solid number, so we put the equal sign. While here, x is to the left of 5. X is to the left of 5, so that means it's smaller than 5. Okay? Now, to memorize this faster, these two are always less than. They look like your left hand, remember? Left hand. So they're always less than facing to the right, okay? And we only put an equal sign if the point is solid. All right. So those are the two kinds of compound inequalities. I'll leave that for like 10 seconds. And if you have questions, you may ask me now. I'm sorry for that interruption earlier. Questions? Okay. Take a picture if you need it because once, how do we draw? You mean on the slides itself, Jaden? Yeah? Okay. So since somebody asked me that also, and this is the perfect time to like minimize my screen, I'm gonna clear the ink. Okay, so this is how you draw. All right, so you see this one? Okay, you click on that, right? You want a line, you can draw a line. There you go. It's so thin, you want to make it thick. So you can go here, line weight, make it 8 if you want. And then if you wanted to have arrows on both ends, you see this? Line start. You know what? They should be teaching this in school, right? Because when you like apply for jobs, you need to be like proficient in this one. They should have like electives for computers. There you go. Did that make sense? So that's how you draw. Now, if you want to label it with the numbers, honey, that's the only part that's difficult. You have to use the text box to, let's say, write number 2 there, and that's the one that will take a little, you know, yeah, that will take up so much time. So if you want to do the Kami, you can do that. It's easier for me because I have a writing tablet. So see what I'm doing right here. But once you set that up, all you need to do is just copy and paste. Control C, Control V. Yeah, there you go. So whenever I prepare your digital notebooks, that's how much time it takes. I know. But it's okay. I love doing it. Yeah. Because it makes you that visual, instead of just me talking and talking, right? Okay, there you go, honey. Yeah, that's how you do it. And if you want to like shade it, you have to use the lines again, you know? So let's say, oh, I need to draw a line. Or you can scribble. I haven't tried scribble, but I think that's faster. So maybe when you shade, you just go to the right. Oh, that looks bad. Yeah, I'm not good at that. I'll probably just try the lines. So going to the right, and then it's an arrowhead like that. There you go. Okay. So I don't think there. It allows you to use an open circle also. Hollow circle. There. And make it wide or thicker. There. But once you have it, you can just copy and paste it. All right? Okay. So I hope I help you somehow with that. Okay? And if you want to insert the less than or greater than, I go here. Insert. Oh, shoot, sorry. I have to have a text box first before I can write something. So if you want to do like the less than symbol, you go insert and then special characters. And then you can write with your finger or mouse and it will show up over there. Less than or equal to. Okay? Um, you click on it and then it will automatically show in your text box right there. Already. Okay, so now let's move on. Let's do this. In the next screen, is this the second to the last one? I think so. Yeah, I tried to make the agenda today short so we guys can do a worksheet and do your makeup work as well independently. Okay, here we go. So how do we write the inequalities if we're given graphs that look like this? Right? Okay, and can you tell me which graphs are compound inequalities with or and compound inequalities with and? So what's the difference? So the first ones, the first ones are graphs that go in the middle, right? They go in the middle, so they intersect. So these are the compound inequalities. Compound inequalities with and. There you go. Um, Kicked you out, Kyle? I know my other device got kicked out too. That's why I have two devices right now in case I got kicked out in one that I have you on the other also. Okay. Now the graphs at the bottom are compound inequalities with or. Okay? Why or? Because they're now going in opposite directions. Okay? They're going in opposite directions. So if you guys are writing on paper, what's the fastest way to do it? When you're copying this on paper, um, hang on, let me open the chat in the other device so I don't keep looking. You got your phone taken? Oh, what happened? Okay. So when you guys are copying this on paper, the fastest way to do it is, you put a -6 right there. I'm copying this, and then you put a 3 right here. Okay? And then maybe you do scribble, scrabble like that. That's the fastest way to copy it on paper. All right? So don't put the tick marks anymore. In fact, if you're using a graph paper, it's even nicer. So you don't have to like put those little lines. Okay? All right. So let's try. I'm going to start and then you guys will help me out later on. So for the first one, how am I going to write the inequality? How am I going to write the inequality? So first, just so it helps you, put an X on the shaded portion. Put an X or any variable. Okay? All right. So now, let's see what's going on. Where can I find X? Ooh, X is between this number and that number, right? So then let's write them down. We go X is between the first number is -6 and the second number is +3. Okay, that's a good start, right? And then now we have to figure out what symbols we're going to put. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to the picture again. Ooh, X is to the right of -6. So that means -6 is smaller, right? So smaller means less. So that means I put the letter L over here. So -6 is smaller than X, but ooh, it's a solid circle. So if it's a solid circle, I have to put an equal sign. Then you're halfway done, right? Then you're halfway done. Now let's go to the other part. It says right here, oh, X is to the left of 3. It's to the left of 3. So I use L for left, and that gives you a clue. You're going to write something like your left hand again. Left hand, right there. Okay, but wait. Is it solid or open? It's open. So if it's open, leave it alone. Don't put an equal sign. Okay? And you're done. So that's all we're doing on this slide. We're just writing the inequality that describes the graph. Okay? Now, what if it's the other way around? This one. What if instead of going in the middle, they go, you know, in opposite directions? So let me give you an example on that, and then I'll give you time to work on the um, on the other questions, and then I'll ask for volunteers to help me out. Okay, so again, let's put X on the shaded region. Okay, and why do we do that? Because it helps in, identifying how many inequalities we will write. So since there was only one X here, we only wrote one, right? Only one inequality. But now there's two of them. There's two of them. So that means you have to write two. And remember, these are the OR inequalities. So that means the first one is you have X, and then X is to the left again. It's to the left, so that means letter L, less than. And then the number is -6. Is it solid or open? It's solid, so that means you put a bar underneath. Okay? But there's another X, so we have to connect them. We gotta put OR. Or, all right? And then we have to put another another number over here. So let's put X again. But now X is not on the left. It's on the right. So it's not less than. It's now greater than. What's the number? 3. Do we put a line? It's open. So leave it alone. Don't put a line, right? So that's how you write an inequality for this kinds of graphs. Okay, so now I will be asking for some volunteers to help me out. You have to unmute yourself, okay? So you can tell me like how I'm going to write the inequality. You know what? In the classroom, I would normally say, because some people always like raise their hands right in the classroom. I say, if you're not getting it, if you don't understand the lesson, then I suggest that you the ones who volunteer. Why? Because then I can help you, right? So when I ask for volunteer, I'm not asking for volunteers who will always give me the correct answer. Volunteer who's willing to, try it out with me. Okay? All right. So may I have our first volunteer? Anybody? You know what I tried during period 1 today? I used the random caller in Delta Math. And then when I was opening it, they said, oh, okay, I'll go. I got the answer, but not sure. Okay, I'll go. They didn't want me to call them randomly, so they volunteered instead. What about you guys? Come on, who wants to volunteer? Anybody? Anyone? Okay, let's do the random caller then, and hopefully you guys can help me. But as much as possible, I don't want to do it because I don't want to like discourage you from joining Zoom. But if nobody volunteers, then let's see. If you're not sure about the answer, that's okay. That's why I'm asking for volunteers so we can help you out. Does it show my password? Hopefully not. All right, lucky are those who don't have a Delta Math account. But hey, if you don't have an account in Delta Math by now, you've missed what exams already. So you better make one. Okay. See how slow my internet is. All right, tools. Random student caller. Here we go. Period 3. Dun 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 dun. Last call for volunteers before we do this. Really? No one? Mm, okay. All right, here we go. Ay! Ita! All right. Okay. So let's see. Ita, would you like to help me? Like number 2. Ita, you're here, right? Okay, I hope you didn't log out, honey. There you go. All right. You can also type in the chat if you don't want to unmute yourself, but if your background is noisy, go for it. That's fine as long as there's as long as it's school appropriate. Okay. Ita, would you like to help? Either unmute yourself or type in the chat, honey. How will I make an inequality for this one? I know, that's why I try not to random call because I do understand that we have different circumstances at home, or maybe you're using your device and you can't unmute. But yeah, is there anybody who would like to try? Anyone? So we don't put like anybody on the spot. Those who, can at least unmute themselves. I feel like I'm not talking to anybody here. Come on, guys. Help me out. Thank you so much, honey. All right, let's go. I love you. Okay, Gabe. So what you got? Yes, Emily. Uh-huh. Okay. There you go. And then what's your beginning number here, Emily? Very good. -5 and 4. Awesome. And then we put the x in between, right? Okay. And then what symbol do you place in between? We always put like the same symbol no matter what. Yeah. Uh-huh. So the one pointing to the left is like your left hand. So that's less than, right? So we put less than, and then we also put less than over here. Great. Now, can you help me decide where we're going to put an equal sign? Is it on the -5 or on the +4? +4. Awesome. Thank you, Emily. I appreciate that you volunteered. That's awesome. All right. Anybody else, guys, who can volunteer and help us out? I know. Like if I'm not the teacher, if I'm going to a teacher training, I'm probably not the one who volunteers either. Why? Because you saw my kids, they just jump in like that, right? So I know, I do understand, but it would be nice if you have like that luxury to have like a quiet background, you know, and you could volunteer and help us. That would be nice. Anybody else? How about this? So you're gonna do something like what Emily did, but you just have to change the numbers, of course. And since it's a closed interval, meaning it's closed on both, you have to have an equal sign on both ends as well. Anybody? Maybe let's just do one more. Like, yes, Giselle, thank you. Let's go, honey. This one, honey. Mm-hmm. The equal sign, okay. The variable. The variable, yeah, x, uh-huh. Yep. Yes. That's awesome. Thank you, Giselle. All right. Okay. Thank you. Now one more. How about here at the bottom? At least one last. So we could try to write one more. Okay. One last volunteer. That would be great. Thank you to Emily and Giselle for helping us today. What about the others? Help us, guys. Help us. I can see that some of you are on your phones because it shows me in my other device like you can only unmute yourself but not show your video. So I do understand that. Yeah. Um, Anybody? How about this one? We're looking at this one right now. So we're gonna write something like this. The one with the or. Volunteer? Even if you're not so sure, we'll help you out. Anyone? Anybody? No? All right. I'll do the last one. Okay. So let's work on this one. Let's put x and then x, right? So we need to write 2, okay? So for this one, it's x, and then it's to the left. It's to the left, so it's less than, and then it's open. So don't put the equal sign, just leave it like that. And the number is -5. There you go. So that's the first side. And then we put or, right? Then we go here. We put the x again, but now the x is to the right, so it's greater than. And then the number is 4, but if it's solid, you put the line underneath. Okay? So again, thank you to Emily and Giselle for helping us with some of the problems. We're going to skip the last one from each set so we can move on to the next one. Um, I'm going to clear the ink, so if you need to take a picture, do it now. Okay. All right. Oops. Okay, so here we go. Let's move on to the next slide. Oh. Clear the ink. There you go. And then go to the last one. Oh yeah, we're at the last one. Okay. There. Okay. So for the last one, we are going to learn how to solve. How to solve. So we learn how to graph. We learn how to write the inequality. So the last one we will do is knowing how to solve. But there shouldn't be anything new here except that you will just be solving, 2 times. Why 2 times? Because their compound means they're like two things combined in one, right? Okay. So whatever we did for equals equalities before can still be done here. We want to get the x by itself. So that means you have to get rid of the 1, right? We have to get rid of 1. So how do we do that? Well, it's plus 1, so we subtract 1. Okay? But there's two numbers, one on the left and one on the right. So whatever we do to the middle, we also have to do to both of them. There you go. So whatever we do in the middle, you have to do to the left and to the right. Okay? So let's do this. -3 minus 1, that's a -4. And then we bring that down, less than. Okay, then what do we do in the middle? Ooh, that cancels out. That becomes a 0. So then we're left with -2x. There you go. And then we bring down the symbol again, less than or equal to. 9 take away 1, that's an 8. There. Are we almost done? Yep. We just have to get the letter x by itself. So we have to remove the -2, right? So how do we remove the -2? Since it was -2 times x, you have to divide that one. And whatever you do to the middle guy, you have to do to the left and to the right. So divide by -2, divide by -2. Okay. So now what's going to happen? This will become +2 is less than. This will cancel out. So that's just going to be x left. 8 divided by -2 is -4. Oops. Wrong. Okay. So this one is x and then -4. Okay, but remember the golden rule. The golden rule. When you are dividing by a negative, what do? You flip. So that means you will make it 2. Then you flip this one, greater than x. Then you flip this one, greater than or equal to -4. And if you remember the order on the number line, -4 is supposed to be on the left of 2. So that means we're gonna switch this all of them again. We're gonna switch their order. So we put -4 here, and then this is pointing to -4, so we have to flip it again. There you go. And then now we have to flip that again, +2. Okay? Or if you want a shortcut, then you flip these two numbers, right? So you don't have to double flip the inequality. So make sure that the smallest number has to be on the left-hand side, in the same way as you graph them on the number line. So whatever is on the left has to be written first. So -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. There you go. So at -4, it's going to be solid. At +2, it's going to be open. Now, how do I know whether I go in between or shade in opposite direction? Well, just like what we did earlier. If x is in the middle, then that means you also have to shade in the middle. There you go. So that's how you solve a compound inequality with the word and. It's and because it's in between. Okay, now let's try the last one when it has an or. So how do you solve an inequality with or? So in the same way as we did earlier, we get the x by itself. So +5 here, +5 here. So bring down 3y, that becomes a 0 pair, right? and then less than. Negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. Oh, my tummy's growling. Okay, so then we divide both sides by negative or by positive 3. So since we divided by a positive 3, we don't flip, right? We don't flip. Here we divided by a negative 2, that's why we flipped. Okay, so now you bring down the y is less than negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. Oh, now I remember. There's a student who asked me, Miss, so if there is a negative, we flip it. I said, be careful with how you say it because look at this one. There's a negative, but we did not flip. We did not flip, right? So you only flip when the negative is what you're dividing by. But since we divided by a positive, keep it. Okay? So that's for the first inequality, but it has an or right here. So that means you have to solve that separately. So add 1, that becomes 0. So 2y is greater than 6. So now we divide both sides by 2. There you go. So y is greater than 3. Y is greater than 3. So let's see how we graph that. Negative 1 is on the left-hand side. Negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay. So negative 1 is open because it doesn't have a bar underneath. Then it's less than. So we go to the left. All right. Then this is greater than 3. It's also open because it doesn't have a bar. And then we go to the right because it's greater than. And we just leave the graphs like that. Right? Because they're not connected. All right. You guys have any questions so far before I show you your worksheet for today? Okay. So let's look at the worksheet. The worksheet, I made it simple today. You're just going to do it on paper. No technology required. Clear ink. So should be over here. It says skills, practice, compound inequalities. So this is a no tech assignment, no fancy stuff, just view it. Okay. Did I change the deadline? Yeah, okay. Okay. So view it and you're just gonna do the work on your paper. And when you're done, you will take a picture of it, or if you don't know how to upload it, maybe on those Mondays that we don't teach new lesson, you could just show me your notebook on video so I could give you grade. All right. Okay, so in the worksheet, you're going to be writing inequalities and solving and graphing them as well. I'll show you some examples. For example, in number 1, a number u, so a number u is less than 7, and greater than 3. Okay? So if it's and, remember you have to combine them in one inequality. How? You put the smaller number on the left, and then you put the bigger number on the right. You put the variable in the middle. Okay? So we know u is less than 7, so that's less than. But then it says here, it's pointing to 3. It's pointing to 3, right? So that means you go like this. U is greater than 3. Okay, so how do we graph that? My other device glitched out again. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you go. All right. So when you graph, it's going to be open at 3, open at 7, and since it's end, you go in between. There you go. Okay? Now, before we go, let me just show you one example for the or. D is less than -2 or D is greater than or equal to 2. So let's see. This is 0, -1, -2. And this is 1, 2. Okay. So this one will be open, right? Yeah, open, less than, so go left. There you go. This one is, it has a bar, so solid. Then you go greater than. There you go. All right, so that's what you guys are doing in the worksheet today. And when you guys finish, either if you're using Cami, you can automatically turn it in. If you're doing it on paper, take a picture, you upload it to Schoology, or you can send it to me via text. So which one is faster? If you want it graded right away, it's faster if you upload it to Schoology. Yeah, because it will show me like a notification, like a blue sign that you did it and I haven't graded it. Yeah. For the remind, sometimes it gets you know, if new messages come in, then I probably have to go back to it later on. Okay. All right. So again, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you were able to, learn our lesson today, learn as much as you could. Um, and if you have any questions, feel free to text me via Remind. Okay. All right. So if you got no more questions, we're gonna say goodbye for now, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. If Schoology doesn't work, forget about it. Okay. Yeah. Be kind to yourself. All right. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a great one. Bye. Have a good one, honey. Bye. Bye.